see here, my glasses are falling apart. Okay, let me know. Are we on? We are on, and hello to you in person, and hello to you who are watching this recording of Angora Poets World Cafe on this October night in 2021, featuring poets from Paris and New York and Tunisia and San Francisco and Istanbul so far, and others will join us along the way. So I welcome everybody that's on board now and welcome you who will be listening to this in a recording to enjoy our poets who, as we say, come from different locations and have different styles of rendering their work. And it's all good. Because as I like to mention, it's all good. Why? Because this ain't the Gong Show. So first up tonight is a poet, musician, jazzer from New York, and he is Ngoma Hill, and we want to welcome Ngoma here on and ask him to give us three pieces that he would like. So Ngoma, you are on.
So I figured since I'm in Harlem, I'll give you a little Harlem. This is called Ghost of Harlem Past, Babylon in Babylon. Harlem, oh Harlem, oh Harlem, my pen bleeds for you. Howling like a dog in heat on a full moon night, suffering root shock since the tree of life was bulldozed, lost forever buried in concrete invisible, wandering like a lost soul trying to find its name, battling extinction, babbling on in Babylon, telling endless stories of the people and the places and the faces that they've seen, both in this life and the past. For the door to the past leads to the future, not to repeat the bitter with the sweet. Oh yes, I remember sweet, like hot donuts from Georgie's and bean pies and fish sandwiches from the Muslims they can take when you got the munchies. School was at the crossroads, 125th and Lenox, from a step ladder listening to Malcolm Martin and Carlos Cook, across from the Teresa Hotel where Fidel stayed because they wouldn't give him a room in the inn downtown, kind of like Jesus and Mary, when Lindy was the hop, before B was the bop, long before hip hop. Maybe some numbers runners on a bootleg or two, Langston Renaissance, Claude McKay and Zora too. These sweet memories I bring to you, babbling on in Babylon, where Malcolm was assassinated at the Audubon. Summers filled with menacing, Order the Feather and Tapawingo, talent night at the Apollo, before boys were shipped overseas to fight old men's wars, before the smack and the crack, buying the latest LP from Sakulu's record shack, checking out Miriam and Hugh grazing in the grass, before Bad Thomas Sankara waved his pearl-handled pistol in the air at Harriet Tubman School and was later assassinated. We still go through the Cotton Club. Duke's spirit still lives there. Late night eat spot was Wells, where chicken and waffles dwell. Long before IHOP got Christopher Columbus fever and discovered it. When African vendors lined 125 Street selling their wares, incense and oil in the air. I'm just here bringing your memory back to black, babbling on in Babylon. Oh Harlem, oh Harlem, oh Harlem, my pen bleeds for you.
Applause, Mita. All right. Yeah. You know, Angoma, I really like that line. Really was cool line, man. It was true, and it was on the beat when you said, Lindy before the hop, B
Yeah.
before the bop, all long before the hip hop. Man, that's right on time.
I'm the original man. I was a runaway slave. I was here before time. Time ain't real, no how just some capitalists made up to control y'all. I can't be controlled. I'm that bald head brother your mama said to watch out for. Brothers was multicultural then, yeah. I was here before race. Race was just something conquerors used to divide us. I was here before Adam. Adam was gay and didn't even like apples. Eve was a homegirl. I was the dude next door. We used to throw barbecues in the Garden of Eden. Brothers had to bring a bottle of wine, a six-pack, or blood to get in. Sisters could get in for free. The Ascended Masters was my posse. Me and Cleopatra used to do the wild thing underneath the steps of the pyramids. Me and this poet named Saul used to sunbathe on the banks of the Nile. Me, Ra, Ptah, Osiris, and Ma'at had this badass band. We used to jam down by the Sphinx on Saturday nights. On Fridays, we'd party in Kush. On long weekends, we'd hang out with Krishna. We'd cruise along the banks of the Ganges on our elephants. Me and Buddha was buddies. We'd go to Ile Ife on vacation, hang out with Orishas, Yamayawa, Batala, Ogun, and them. The Bible was the first national enquirer. King James was the editor. I met that brother Jesus. He was a real black man, a young dude, dropped out of school early. Could do a mean miracle though, changing water to wine and whatnot. Did a mean fish fry too. I was there when he was killed. It was a Judeo-Roman conspiracy. He was a political prisoner. We had a free Jesus rally. Still got my button too. Didn't work though, they killed him anyway. Should have had Johnny Cochran for a lawyer. Me and Luke made Sandals the latest rage. I gave Gabriel trumpet lessons. He could play a mean blues. I promised Mary I'd keep our secret. You know, she wasn't no virgin, just something she made up so she could get a welfare check since Joseph was an absentee father. I thought y'all figured it out by now. Must I tell y'all everything? Look, Jesus told me I could be God just before he died. I didn't want the responsibility though. I knew all them crazy zealots would be killing peacemakers and saying he told them to do it. I didn't want all that blood and shit on my conscience. I used to sling rocks. No, not cocaine. Crystals, amethyst, tiger's eyes, turquoise, onyx, and blue lapis. I was a prophet before it was profitable. Thought about getting a psychic hotline, but I couldn't get an 800 number. I was here before language, before you had to worry about people lying. Everything was the truth then. I was here before negativity. Life was simple then. I was here before fear. I was here before want and need and greed and war and shame and blame. I was here before darkness. I am the light. I've come to show you the way. Follow me. I'm truth. I'm eternal peace. All we need is love. All we need is love. All we need is love. I am. I.
Okay.
Nice.
No, I don't know what's next. Let's see.
All we need is love. All right, Angora. How about Three's a Charm?
Okay.
How you keep that hat so clean?
It's new. up south. She says, write a poem about being a poet from New York. I'm thinking, that could be hard. See, to begin with, I've lived here since '79, but I'm not from New York. I'm from Richmond, VA, the capital of the Confederacy. I followed the North Star like a runaway slave, searching for freedom, trying to get away from picket lines and Klan signs, only to find Ku Klux Killer cops hiding behind badges instead of sheets. Now, don't get me wrong, I love New York. During my college days, all of my boys bit from the Big Apple. I hung out with them because they were the coolest, but they are all gone now. So I pour a sip for Lou Wheeler and Leslie Scott. I take my little money from a summer job at Menacing to buy Italian knits, sharkskin pants, and Playboy shoes with the thick rubber soles from McCready and Schreiber. I wouldn't tell anyone where I was really from. All the flyest girls like brothers from New York, and I wanted to be cool like that. My boys introduced me to Black Power, Black Muslims, Black nationalists, Black Panthers, and Black poetry. Imamu Amiri Baraka, as he was called in, Haki Marabuti, aka Darnell Lee, Carolyn Rogers, Askia Muhammad Toure, and the Last Poets. Of course, with the exception of some of the Last Poets, none of them were from New York anyway, but it didn't matter to me. I just wanted to be like them. I'd never heard talk like that before. I was hooked, and poetry was my drug of choice. Malcolm's murder triggered the Black arts movement. The seed was planted, watered, and nurtured at all the poetry spots. The Spirit House in Newark, the East and Uhuru Sasa Shule in Brooklyn, the African Poetry Theater in Queens, the National Black Theater in Harlem. But then you wanted to know about the poetry. Thing is, I never called myself a poet. Jelly or griot might be a better description, since I rock anything with a string, plus I can sing. Some call me Dr. Rockefeller, the godfather of spoken word. You better ask somebody if you haven't heard. Actually, I write a lot too. You might say I'm just a pissed off brother with a pen. One of my friends reminded me, America is a place where the past always looks like the future. But these twisted I want to be hip hoppers and Ku Klux Killer cops think niggas come in all colors, so I still do protests and die-ins. Cause in this atmosphere, I can't breathe. And New York just seems like up south to me.
Okay. And Goma, you rang a bell with me when I was a young teenager. I got a hold of a book from Don E. Lee.
Okay.
Before his name went African, and I haven't heard his name in a long time. All right. Okay. Well, thank you very much for that. Thank you very much indeed. Okay. Yeah. Okay. So now we're gonna go from New York over here to Paris in France, and we're gonna call another one of our singing musical poets, Jafarai Karim. Hello, Karim.
Hello, Mo. Hello, everybody. Nice to see you. I'm gonna do the last song that I wrote in French. It's already finished.
Okay.
It's called Oui, je voudrais. Yes,
Yes, I would like.
I would
Okay.
like.
Yeah.
Oui, je voudrais que l'on s'aime. Oui, je voudrais que l'on s'aime de sentiments. Oui, je partirai où l'on s'aime. Simplement, il faudrait qu'un jour je te dise que tes yeux, que ta bouche m'électrisent et que tu as la main mise là sur mon cœur, là sur mon cœur. Oui, je m'en irai pour que cicatriser la plaie, pour que tombe la pluie et pour que règne la nuit. Là, dans mon cœur, dans mon cœur. Oui, je te mentirai pour que tu restes un peu, pour que tu restes. Oui, je voudrais que l'on s'aime. Oui, je partirai là où l'on s'aime, là où l'on s'aime. Simplement.
Merci, Troubadour. Merci beaucoup, Troubadour.
Merci à vous.
Et moi, je voudrais un deuxième poème, chanson.
Je vais faire une deuxième chanson et puis ça sera bon pour moi, Monsieur Mo. Et ça, c'est une chanson en anglais que j'ai jouée au Chat Noir lundi dernier et que j'aimerais repartager avec vous parce que je l'ai déjà chantée ici. Merci, Norcel. Ça s'appelle Your Voice. Through the night, I hear your voice, but it's only in my mind. And when the darkness is almost over, comes to me the willing to fight. Deep in the desert, lost in the wind. And I wonder if you still remember my name, oh my name. In the night train, baby, in my brain, still love you, love you. On the TV show, when the wind blows. Still love you. But through the night, I hear your voice, but it's only in my mind. And when the darkness is almost over, comes to me, the willing to fly high. And I wonder if you still remember my own name. Is it still the same?
Okay. Karim. So, what have you for three's a charm, Karim?
I haven't prepared anything, but I can say a small poem in English.
Please.
Very small. So it says, wait for the sunshine, baby, don't you worry. Live in the flowers, better than live in a hurry. Put down your guns of doom and pain. Don't let the suns drive you insane. They need icons. They need icons. They need icons.
All right. Yeah. Short and sweet. Very nice, Karim. Thank you. Okay. Yes. You're welcome. Most welcome. All right. And now we're going to jump. We're going to jump a whole lot of miles or kilometers, however you want to measure. And we're going to go outside of Istanbul, Turkey, with our poet, our Angora core poet, Nursel Erksen. Now, she has 3 poems, and what we do, because she's not speaking English or French, is I will read the first poem in English, and Nursel will follow in her Turkish original version. So, Nursel, the first poem you sent me is called The Last Face of Love. The Last Face of Love.
Of light.
Yes, and I will do my best to read it. The Last Face of Love. The woman was silent forever. He softly kissed love from his heart. He threw his ashes into the sky. The last face of love has melted away. Swallows accompanied his mourning, the smell of jasmine blowing from light. Her last dance is in the hazel eyes of the Menedis. The last face of love has melted away.
Thank you.
Okay.
The last face of the love melody.
Okay, it came out different on okay. You will correct it.
Aşkın son yüzü eridi. Sonsuza dek sustu kadın. Usulca öptü aşkı kalbinden. Savurdu küllerini gökyüzüne. Aşkın son yüzü eridi. Kırlangıçlar eşlik etti yasına. Ilgıt ılgıt esen yasemen kokusu. Son dansı menevişlerin ela gözlerinde. Aşkın son yüzü eridi. Thank you.
Thank you, Marcel. Yes. All right. Now, to read your second poem, which is called Spring Branch. Spring.
Right. Okay.
Yes. Okay. The next poem by Narcel called Spring Branch. Like a spring branch that I will love madly. What frost can hit me? Ah, My hair is washed with sea buckthorn flowers. I don't listen to the edict. My heart is peony. I live in rainbow dreams. My muse snuggles close to me. The tunes are poured from my heart to the purple verses. My poems speak to the ocean of eternity. Nihilante songs sing you. You know, fragile poems in my soul. Oh, these crazy springs. Oh, these crazy springs. It's like a Venus star in love with the sun, like a spring branch that I will love madly. What frost can meet?
Thank you.
Okay, poet.
Right. Bahar dalı. Çıldırasıya seveceğim. Bir bahar dalı gibi. Hangi ayaz vurabilir ki beni? İğde çiçekleriyle yıkanır saçlarım. Ferman dinlemez gönlüm. Bir şakayık. Gökkuşağı düşlerde yaşarım. Usulca sokulur yanı başıma. Esin perim. Dökülür nameler yüreğimden erguvan dizelere. Dillenir şiirlerim sonsuzluk okyanusuna. Yahavet şarkılar seni söyler. Bilesin ruhumda kırılgan şiirler. Ah bu çılgın baharlar. Ah bu çılgın baharlar. Sanki güneşe aşık bir Venüs yıldızı. Çıldırasıya seveceğim bir bahar dalı gibi. Hangi ayaz vurabilir ki beni? Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Oh, though I don't understand your language, I feel your passion, and that's very, very nice, Marcel. Okay, three's a charm from Marcel, and this poem from her is called The Tree and the Revolution. I have hope for revolutions that smell of sun in the heart of a green valley full of flowers, the sun-faced children who will sing. I will root deep into the earth with my face like a smiling butterfly, boots that will melt clogs, tanks, rifles in a sun-drenched revolution. To the labor, to the bread, to the freedom, to the land of my people, coveting scorpions, snakes, centipedes, females, inside a volcano, like ember. Okay. Ooh. Okay. And you.
Tree and the Revolution. Okay. Ağaç ve devrim. The Tree and the Revolution. Ağaç ve devrim. Umudum var. Güneş kokan devrimlere. Yeşil bir vadinin çiçeklerle dolu bağrında. Şakıyacak gün yüzlü çocuklar. Kök salacağım toprağın derinliklerine. Gülümseyen kelebek yüzünle. Eriyecek postallar, takunyalar, tanklar, tüfekler, güneş kokan bir devrimde. Halkımın emeğine, aşına, ekmeğine, özgürlüğüne, toprağına göz diken Akrepler, yılanlar, çıyanlar, hainler, kor ateşler gibi bir yanardağın içinde çığlık çığlığa can verecek. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay. So if Angora poets have any sway in your country, you should be heading the government.
Government.
Okay. Thank you very much, Nercel. See you in the second round.
Thank you.
Okay. Thank you very much. And so now we will again cross mighty waters, big landmass, and come back to Paris here in France. And we will gladly introduce our American poet living in Paris. And his name is Bill Strangmaier. Bill, you're on.
Thank you, Mo. I heard a song. They wrote a song about us by a girl with an impudent voice. But how did that girl do justice to you and your womanly character flaws? She must be a fiction like me, or the song, or the thought that we'd not had a choice. So I wrote out the song and I lived it for you in a fog, in a dream, in a lie. That was all I could find on the emptying stage of internal applause. For the song about us I heard sung like a wish in your beautiful voice. By the grinding of fate, we gave up our illusion of learning to fly from the prayers of the past and the grip of remembrance's claws, which must be a fiction like me, or a song, or the thought that we'd not had a choice. To step out of time with the ease of a shadow, we looked up at the sky and wished for illusions to hold us defending or hiding our cause, the writing of songs we might sing with a carefree and impudent voice. The notes of a melody, dissident, parallel fourths like a cry, resolved to false climax and finally kept to the classical laws because of a fiction like me, or the song, or the lie that we'd not had a choice. I once had a haven in corners of wishing where no one would die, unknown to believers in sad songs the money dream draws, that wrote a song about us to be sung by a girl with an impudent voice. That must be a fiction like me, or the song, or the thought that we'd not had a choice.
Ooh, okay, slam it, Billy, slam it. Number 2, Mr. Bill.
Okay, from Lao Tzu, now things run ahead, now they follow. Once, how one shone, another glowed, and one who twinkled, they undrunken to the lees, unlike those certain ones, important as they say while snuffling up a laugh, injected like a hot shot full of masochistic fun. But those who were of light, I cling to their shadows, I cleave unto their silhouettes, filled either with a blank or with a brightness now less visible to me. The choice is always wrong, now cast their shadow long, fading, the fading of the all like magic childhood into carved maturity. The grown-ups are so knotted up like plaster molded into 1950s animal toys. They changed the playtime Potsy courts, the Spalding balls, and now defiance of their world can only go so far, no longer brewed up like our plot to act for God, cabal that never brought about the mess we'd hoped. The games played out on city streets now end in end finality. The joy of running, escaping from the warning shot, swinging one-handed up over a wall, the other hoisting a pal to cover, was so abundant, now so rare that joy. Responsibilities to brag about, then souvenir buttons on my breastplate, worn and tarnished now, remind. The solid now is flimsy, like the waiting for vocation or like fate. The room I carry round, so big inside, so small without, is subject now to rent grown monstrous from absurdity of overtry. All climbing leads up to the giant sky blue dinner plate. And so it's eaten, so absorbed into the white blue manifesto that they've stretched across the sky that drips into my soul. And I would gather everything and all the ones into embrace as warm as melancholy's bed, as clean as loveless sex, as true as sex. But like the disappearing forests, everything evades, and I'm not fleet enough of foot to catch a fashion in my hand. And oh, it's all now gone, the lush and mighty gift that once I had for free.
Wow. As clean, as loveless. Did I get that right, Bill? As
No,
clean.
I read it wrong. As sexless love.
Okay, would you read it that line the way you would read it?
And I would gather everything and all the ones into embraces warm as melancholy's bed, as clean as selfless love, as true as sex, but like the disappearing forests, everything evades, and I'm not fleet enough of foot to catch a fashion in my hand.
Whoa, okay. Yeah, okay. Okay, Bill, three's a charm, babe.
Okay, let's see. Okay. Oscar Wilde wrote, "Yes, I am a dreamer, for a dreamer is one who can only find his way by moonlight, and his punishment is that he sees the dawn before the rest of the world." Moonscape in a picture frame. I dream to try to grasp the universe I'm swimming through, to honor the confusion of the daily breaching of mind's walls. The code is somewhere else, in a book of charms, in a text for first-year psych. Is mine the nugget or the gravy boat, the almond or the hull? The world I live in, or that lives in me, seems a shadow play, played out by ghosts that live in flesh machines that seem to feel, whence comes the thought of timeless soul, of immortality indeed. The invention of affection was ennobling to us apes, but still a fickle chance, byproduct of a time when life in the world became an easier game. And then the strife of intellect to clash with beef-bred politics. Oh, would that magic were a mystic force that worked for real. I'd cast a spell upon mankind to turn them into trees and lakes. Those dreams I have a verified routine so oddly unfamiliar in my sleep beguile me with their dust and lack of rich display some people like, as if my doubts were justified by concomitance with the state I see. When glory comes into the world, I'll dream, I hope, of palace gardens, songs decrypting God and time, bodies smooth and joined and meadows, angels winged and chiming, miracles and wonders, dances all a whirl. For now, the dusty room, the dusty road, the journey to a fictive past are keys to somewhere, codes to disarrange the locked up sometime day that keeps its rules, its frugal reign of gravity and logic, lying gods and whist. But once I dreamt I was a lion gliding across the sky on ample raven's wings.
Okay, Bill. Okay. All right. Would you do us a favor, and in the chat box, would you write down that quote by Oscar Wilde that you opened with?
Okay.
In the chat box, yeah. That was a brilliant quote, along with a fine, fine poem. Thank you very, very much, Bill.
Thank you, Mo.
Okay, so we're gonna make a big jump again, and we're gonna go all the way to San Francisco, California, and call on our man Dharma Dave. Hello, Dave.
Hi, everybody. Thanks, Mo. And it's great to be here with everybody. Man's eternal quest for sex. We will figure a way to tell you a story, a true story, of the way it really was then in the now of yesterday's rhapsodies. Blue, green, red, gold, silver, copper, magenta, blonde, brunette, redhead. It all comes down to sex. What the man wants is that squirting pleasure.
Okay, is there any guy on this screen that wants to own up to that? Okay, Dharma.
Hey, deny it if you dare, you know.
On the other hand, they say that that all firemen were bedwetters.
That gives me comfort to learn that.
We're gonna get to you later, Jack Cooper.
Yeah.
And you too, Declare Albriani. We're gonna get to you too later. Welcome on board. Okay, Dharma Dave, give us another one.
Okay. Charcoal writer. The charcoal writer writes away the day, draws word pictures with the cold embers of the nighttime fire. Storytelling, wonder, memory and conjuncture, words written before, in the distant past, near future visions of the new golden dawn. Charcoal writer pauses to recall the first time he made love to his wife in eternity. Charcoal writer philosophy, so very simple that it's hard to remember. In the chatterbox clashings of realities, yes, in the wilderness, we were all basic folk with gods and goddesses and visions and space visitors and the unceasing quiet of the awesome forest. Charcoal writer was there, writing, ever writing, and telling the tale to the growing generations. The people left the forest and became fascinated with time. Charcoal writer watched it all, wrote with a computer, videographed his visions, while the chatterbox realities slushed around, confused in a gradual shift to a new awareness, a return to the forest in the guise of his future spacefaring explorers of the galaxy, predicted by the charcoal writer at all times, far and wide, who hugs and loves the earth and all its material and the visions from his mind.
Okay, give it up to the charcoal writer. All right, Dave. Three's a charm, David.
Thank you. Firebird. From the fire's ashes, the phoenix shall rise again. Phoenix! Life, death, and rebirth. Broken hearts around broken fires. Were you once a druid? I have seen your eyes dark in the firelight. These trees cast weird shadows. Have you seen the shaman, dancing arms flying, the flames lick about his waist, chanting, chanting, chanting? I have seen your eyes dark in the firelight. The flame bird rises up, all at once alive. That which dies can live again. Oh, the stories I could tell about countless descents and reascents, but my memories are clouded. There is a lock upon my mind and shackles on my heart, and how I wish that I could burst them and rise up again like a phoenix, all golden and red, bathed in flame. The stars were different then, beneath the druid fire. Were you there? Some of that light seems to reflect from your eyes. Could the phoenix leap again out of the fire into the full bloom of memory?
I hope so. Okay, Dave. One point here. I have to send you a link to Lithlorian poetry curated by Strider Marcus Jones, who really wraps his poetry around ancient myths and legends. And he's going to relate to you very strongly about the things that you express here.
That's
And we'll
cool.
publish you.
Yeah,
And
that's
we'll
cool.
publish you.
That's cool.
Okay.
I would like to get that link.
Yeah, you and him will have much in common, rooting yourself back to ancient legends and myths.
Well, and I'm
Okay.
always showing, trying to push them forward as well, and because I think we need some kind of a myth to bring us all together as one humanity. That's kind of what I'm hoping for.
Yeah.
But not
I'm with
hoping,
you on
but I'm not very optimistic. No.
I'm with you on that, Dave.
You want a lot, don't you?
We do the best we can, though, right?
Okay.
Have to get rid of the
Alright.
modern myths first.
Smash them.
Yeah. Yeah. And speaking of which, I watched a documentary today on YouTube that it's just still blowing my mind. It's called The Making of a Nation, and it's a documentary made by this guy, and it says on YouTube for free, and he traces very minutely and accurately everything from the whole propaganda machine, and explains how the media, since he basically talks about since the Gulf War, has used subliminal messages. Remember the bit where you were supposed to see Coca-Cola and eat the popcorn, flashing for, they said 1/50th of a second. So this guy did research and said when they flashed the subliminal message in a New Jersey drive-in that he studied, Coca-Cola and popcorn consumption went way up. So while people were denying they were using subliminal messages, some people detailed that, yes, they did work. And they finally take it all the way to putting it, shooting beams against the ionosphere that bounce back and can be traced on the skulls and nerve endings of human beings by science, not by conspiracy. And how basically that since the first Gulf War, the government and the corporate sponsors like General Electric, who's an arms maker, designed stories to keep us totally afraid of an enemy and totally prepared to accept ongoing war, and how it's been very successful. And it's called the making of a nation. And I pretty much agreed with it in it what I was hearing in advance, but the details just blew my mind on basically how effective PSYOP operations have been. That's it. In the end, man, popcorn stands. See? Yeah, well, like I said, it blew my mind, and I expected to agree with it before I watched it. But when scientists confirmed that the way they're using antenna, now they didn't talk about 5G, okay? They didn't talk about that. They talked about another thing they do where they bounce antenna waves off the ionosphere, and they themselves are sent back like a trampoline. And scientists could measure the penetration on the human skull. It's as they basically gradually over time reframe people's reaction habits so that they're passive and acceptive in the face of what's going on since the Gulf War. Very interesting.
You only have to watch the 6 o'clock news.
True. Or you could be a glutton for punishment like me and watch the whole damn documentary. Fortunately, I and you are poets. And fortunately, thank you very much, Dave. Now, I want to introduce a first-time poet to Angora, who he was born in Jerusalem, and then he studied in Paris, no, in Montpellier in France. And then he married a Tunisian woman, and now for a long time lives with a biology scientist in Tunisia, and he's a poet and published and a story writer with several editions published. I've been following him on Facebook for some years now. And so everybody, my fellow poets, let's give a big welcome to Talal Hamoud. Hello, Talal.
Hello, good evening, everybody.
Thank you. Now, I'm going to read 3 poems by Talal, rendered to me in English. And Talal, which language will you read them in?
Chinese.
Oh.
Arab.
Okay.
In Arab.
Okay. Okay. And I thought we needed an interpreter for you tonight. And so Claire was going to do that. I didn't know you were so good in English and realized that you also speak French. So here we go. And the first poem, I didn't get titles, so I will just go on and read the poem. And let me put on my specs here. Okay. Okay. The first poem by Talal Hamoud.
Hamad.
Huh?
Hamad.
Hamad. I told you to be wary of my American accent. I told you that in advance.
No, we can't hear you really well.
Okay.
Now,
Okay.
yes. Yes, now that's better.
Okay. Cheap technology. Okay, here's the first poem. On the edge of an abyss stands a man who is desperate for the goodness of this world and does not advance. Is he afraid? Does he pause before jumping to see how deep that abyss is? Or does this mad world deserve dying for in such a way that it now seems to him not as resounding as it should be? Or is it because he thought that if he had a pistol with a single bullet, that would have been better for him? Because the bullet will cause an explosion in the brain, throwing at the face of the world as if it slaps him in protest of his impudence. The desperate man of the goodness of this world, still thinking in the best way to escape from his despair, to save in him what remains of hopeful and what remains of hopefulness. What's up with the desperate man from the goodness of the world to do? Maybe he's not the only one. Maybe someone else has an idea hidden in his head and can lend it to him. Okay.
Wow.
And now to you.
على حافة هاوية سحيقة يقف الرجل اليائس من صلاح هذا العالم ولا يتقدم. هل هو خائف أم إنه يتريث قبل أن يقفز ليرى كم هي سحيقة تلك الهاوية؟ وهل إن هذا العالم المجنون يستحق أن يموت من أجله بهذه الطريقة التي تبدو له الآن غير مدوية كما يجب؟ أم لأنه يفكر لو أنه كان يملك مسدساً برصاصة وحيدة على الأقل لكان ذلك أفضل له؟ لأن الرصاصة ستحدث انفجارا في المخ يرشق الوجه العالمي كأنه يصفعه محتجا على صفاقته. الرجل اليائس من صلاح هذا العالم ما يزال يفكر في الوسيلة الأفضل للخلاص من يأسه لينقذ فيه ما تبقى من أمل وما تبقى من رجاء. ما الذي على الرجل اليائس من صلاح العالم أن يفعله؟ ربما ليس هو الوحيد، ربما يملك أحد غيره فكرة مخبأة في رأسه فيعيرها له.
Thank you.
أتوقع.
Thank you. All right. The second poem from Talal, and this is What is Knocking at the Door at This Hour? What time is it now? Somewhere screaming louder. Somewhere someone is in pain now. Someone is tormented somewhere. Do you hear it? I can almost touch it. So he's not far. It's like it's coming out of my throat. It's like he's screaming, where are you now? What do you see knocking on my door? What is knocking at this hour? What time is it now? What door is knocking now? I can still hear the knocking in my throat. In my throat, I can still hear the sound of knocking and the sound of pain. Who is in pain now? Why does he not invite joy to visit him? Where does this joy reside? Does he need a visa? Will they stop him at the border? Will they ask him for his name? Will they say it's pain?
ما الذي يطرق الباب في هذه الساعة؟ كم الساعة الآن؟ في مكان ما صوت صراخ يعلو. أحد ما يتألم الآن، أحد ما يتعذب في مكان ما. هل تسمعه؟ أكاد ألمسه. هو إذن ليس بعيدا، كأنه يخرج من حلقي، كأنه يصرخ في. أين أنت الآن؟ أنا أيضا أسأل أين أنا الآن؟ ما الذي ترى يطرق الباب علي؟ ما الذي يطرقني في هذه الساعة؟ كم الساعة الآن؟ أي باب يطرق الآن؟ ما زلت أسمع صوت الطرق في حلقي، في حلقي ما زلت أسمع صوت الطرق وصوت الألم. من الذي يتألم الآن؟ لماذا لا يدعو الفرح لزيارته؟ أين يسكن هذا الفرح؟ هل يحتاج إلى تأشيرة؟ هل سيوقفوه على الحدود؟ هل سيسألوه عن اسمه؟ وهل سيقول بأنه يتألم؟
Thank you. Thank you. All right. And now the third poem coming your way. How are we going to drop the snake from the tree? How are we going to drop the snake from the tree to catch it and take it out of the hands that it swallowed them from its stomachs? Would we uproot the tree or shake it until the snake falls? Then we grab its neck and press until it stops breathing. Then we take off its skin and open its stomach to release the birds from their captivity. And we announce the tree free like the first time. Our eldest said, "Let's dig a hole under the tree," and the snake falls into it to bury it. But the younger one said, "What if it doesn't fall into the hole? What if it runs away from us? What if it deceives us and slips through our fingers and hides under our coats? Isn't it better if we close all snake holes?" We guarded the tree, and we did not leave a runway for the snake to evade and turn around us. I said while scratching in the belly of the snake for an outlet, what if the snake did not see us, and it was the tree who swallowed us?
كيف سنسقط الأفعى من فوق الشجرة؟ كيف سنسقط الأفعى من فوق الشجرة فنلقي القبض عليها ونخرج العصافير التي ابتلعتها من بطنها؟ أنقتلع الشجرة من جذورها أم نهزها إلى أن تسقط الأفعى فنقبض على عنقها ونضغط حتى تلفظ أنفاسها ثم نخلع عنها جلدها ونشق بطنها ونطلق العصافير من أسرها ونعلن الشجرة حرة مثل أول مرة؟ قال أكبرنا سنا لنحفر تحت الشجرة حفرة فتسقط فيها الأفعى كي نطمرها، لكن الأصغر منا سنا قال: ماذا لو لم تسقط الأفعى في الحفرة؟ ماذا لو فرت منا؟ ماذا لو خدعتنا وانسلت من بين أصابعنا واختبأت تحت معاطفنا؟ أليس من الأجدى لو أغلقنا كل جحور الأفعى وحرسنا الشجرة ولم نترك للأفعى مسرى تهرب منه وتلتف علينا؟ قلت وأنا أبحث في بطن الأفعى عن منفذ: ماذا لو أن لم ترنا الأفعى وابتلعتنا الشجرة؟
Bravo, bravo, poet, bravo. Thank you very much, and we will see you in the second round. Welcome your first time to Angora Poets. Welcome.
I am glad, very glad
Yes.
to see you, to see everybody, and to hear everybody.
Yes, yes. Yes, as best we can to get to know each other, since we can't be person to person. The positive side of Zoom is to find you in Tunisia and others in Paris and San Francisco and Istanbul, and just really relish what we're experiencing from everyone. That is our purpose.
And one day in South Africa or Australia or India.
Yes, we are.
Everyone is hiding everywhere.
Yeah, that's right. We are everywhere.
Everywhere.
And now we are back in Paris with one of our old friend poets here, who is the co-publisher, co-editor of Poets Wear Prada, which at this point is putting out a whole lot of books. As I got a call at 9 in the morning from your colleague, ready to go to work at 9 a.m. while it was only 3 a.m. her time.
Oh yeah.
And oh yeah, New York never sleeps. And Roxanne said, "No, I don't sleep."
Not for days. Not for days.
But
Yeah.
she gave me some great
15
advice.
years old. 15 years
Huh?
old.
Sorry?
Poets Wear Prada is 15 years old as of
Yes.
last Friday, the 15th.
I saw that on Facebook, and congratulations to you too.
Yeah.
And to all the poets and writers that you put forward, including those presently. So that means I want to turn over the presentation now to before and after all those editorial responsibilities to poet Jack Cooper here in Paris.
All right,
Hello,
thank you.
Jack.
Thank you, Mo. Thank you, everyone. I knocked my glasses on. I had actually intended to read something else, but after our discussion of myth, I thought I would read this short poem, which comments on myth in modern time. It's actually called Modern Time. I have left the world in Central Park, its dappled shade. Depend no more. Beautiful it is to shed leaves. I will not graze the ground this seems, but slip, descend, loosen my grip, less willing than inevitable, commencing my myth. Hand clutching hawthorn berries, my son gave me to crush like pomegranate seeds upon a rock beneath my tongue.
Wow. Okay. Yes. Yes. Yes. Yes.
Good.
Number two, Jack.
Yeah, number two, and this I actually had intended to read, is curiously enough entitled Perseus and Andromeda. The great Greek hero who saved Andromeda, who was chained to a rock and victim of the sea. Time is a sea which permeates ourselves. I hear its wave crashing, feel the day of sunlight, oceanic on my face, warmth when cold. Chains that bind you, I have to undo, yet must endure, free to move through yours, slipping quietly into a new way of seeing. Reborn, blinking eyes open to daylight, fresh with disregard for what seemed to preoccupy, merely to recur, overwhelm, outstrip, unwind. Prescience, akin to touch, imprisoning us where spoon-fed care with carelessness, nature rescinds the mess we make of our hair, shroud of skin shrunk from shrinking in. Readying the tender launch of arms, words meant to embrace, their mightier forms drawn out to such permanence of pertinencies of length, foil the monstrous regard, turn away Instead, averted contemplation from misery, contemplation from mirrory plate to selves unseen but known, spurning time's wave. With eyes in minute scales, rack among the rocks and sand, unflinching, gather the narrowed, wicked, comic tale in hand, stretched to extreme of vanity, revolved, its altered, softened shape plunged straight one into another's heart, which together bleed, fit forever now, never more to beat apart, though remaining separate, each to each a waterfall, neither head or heel, standing up or lying down. Little matter how started, even stopped, relative to voices in our ears, our own, all we hear below, all we want to hear, timeless.
Okay, okay. Yes. Okay, Jack. Well, now, three is a charm.
All right. Well,
Please.
you know, before email displaced letter writing and postcards and such things, I wrote hundreds of them. And so I'd always sort of fantasized that I might one day have a collected postcards published. Anyway, this was a postcard, which is dedicated to my friend Johnny D, John DeMaestri, who is the bar manager of the KGB bar in New York, an old friend. And it's called Yo, Johnny. Written from Jamaica. It's the most amazing thing, lad. Everybody here wants to be my friend. Hey, booty, they say. Everyone wants to take care of me. Care taking the inevitable form of the good ganja. Hey, booty, want to see me buds? The good mushrooms. How about some nice mushrooms today? And the good coke. Well, lad, I like to be fair. Haven't I always said so? So I buy the ball. With the inevitable result that this trip is not only going to cost me every cent I was able to borrow, it's going to deprive me of all my brain cells as well. But no problem, as they like to say here, a little too often for my liking. A late lie on the beach and a long swim was one way of looking at it, at Negril. The sun has followed its western path to our living room window and now shines on my left shoulder, slanting through the blinds. Correspondingly, the walls come to life with coolness in the stone. Tonight, it is pineapple and rum. Ah, Johnny boy, there have been idyllic moments and hellish ones. Continuous music and soon farewells.
All too soon. Thank you, Jack. Has this barman at the KGB listened or read that poem?
Oh yeah, he received it on a written in very, very tiny writing on a postcard.
Oh, nice, nice. And you're right. There was a sort of a little movement a few years ago to bring back letter writing. You know
Oh, yeah.
that? And I have old photocopies of handwritten and mostly handwritten letters that are 4 and 5 pages long. that I
I do
wrote.
too. I have a whole thick file of photocopies of letters that I wrote, you know.
Yeah,
Uh,
we should get back. I agree. We should get back to letter writing, and it seems to sort of express us better than social media platforms.
well, they're really good for the creative process. I mean, you know,
And
some of the
yeah,
great letter writers like Flaubert and Henry Miller and
right,
so-
exactly, right. And our good friend Oscar Wilde, who wrote letters.
yes, that's right.
Yeah. Okay.
Anyway, thank you, everyone.
Well, thank you, Jack. And we're going to stay in Paris now with another Paris poet who is trilingual, and which by that means reads and writes and understands both French and, did I say trilingual? I wanted to say bilingual, didn't I? Okay, reads and writes and understands both French and English. So I want to welcome on board Claire Andriani. Hello, Claire.
Hi, everyone. I'm so happy to be here. Can you hear me well?
Yes.
Great.
Yes.
So
In
I have,
Tunisia, we hear you.
sorry?
In Tunisia, we hear you.
Great. My first poem is called Night, and it was written on October the 14th. So it's about embracing darkness, about trying to make one with the unknown and not be scared of darkness. The trees are smiling from above. There is a reluctance within, the one to unite with darkness. The fear of the unknown giggles like a wild child, mocking the adults that do not want to play. A butterfly passes me languidly and seems to point me to the evidence of beauty. Darkness, the night within echoing the blue sky of morning. A day has yet to come, and no one knows what it will be made of, yet the mind wanders in dreams that say who you want to be. The fear of beauty, fascination, haunts you like a stone in the middle of the woods, where howls are heard, wolves and owls sing in a perfect duet, a night song, invoking the spirits of the unknown. Walk barefooted in the grass and the white leaves on the ground. Listen to them crackle like skeletons' bones, and consider yourself lucky to find discovery wherever you go. Walk in darkness and smell the damp forest, the perfume of burnt wood, and be like a bird guided by its instinct, forgetting about speech, the essence of human pain. The words that transpierce you like a sword are no more. They fly around your brain like useless sounds. Be silent and walk till the forest takes you and teaches you how to fly by day above the common concerns of humanity. Embrace darkness, the friend to your soul, and see its possibility. You being one only, a unique soul in progress, learning the art of simplicity in the bare nature where sounds mingle and make a symphony, trying to impress you, but keep walking and you will see the day after the night, the sun after the thunder, the soul after the mind.
Yes. All right. And I would wish that Narcelle could read that in her language, because you and her are resonating about one's feelings for self and humanity through the contact with nature. So yes, yes, you are sisters in that regard.
Oh, great. Yeah, that's what I got from her poetry when you translated it into English.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes. Narcelle and Claire. Yes. Okay, number 2, please, Claire.
Number 2 is called subjectivity. What I see inside is black. Black like a white space between my heart and my brain. But who put it there? The former lover whose intellect didn't satisfy me? Or the desert of doubt coming from within? Subjectivity is the color of your thought, the way you see it, the lens being yours only, a camera nobody has and nobody will ever peer through, something inside, something lively defining your reality. It's warm like a loaf of bread, just out from the oven, speaks the language of your words, the ones you have and that match your emotions. A bowl of flowers sunk in water, whose necks are free enough to breathe. Stop suffocating under the weight of objectivity or reason, everything that kills creativity. Be an open flower with its scent at the center. Don't be afraid to look differently. Embrace darkness, the neighbor of truth, and walk steadily towards the desert of your mind, filled with words and ideas, filled with your heart, displaced in your body, and striving to make you see the jewel that you are when you don't submit to reality, the enemy of progress, delicacy, the true self inside.
Okay. Okay. Very nice. Very compelling. Very nice. Shit. That's very compelling. Thank you.
Thank you, Paul.
And okay, so 3's a charm, Claire.
Yeah, my third one, I originally wrote as a song, but I can't remember the melody. So it was a song to play with the guitar, and I'm just going to read the lyrics. So there's no title for this one. In the mountains, there's a bird flying high, and it's me. White as a stone, it follows the echo of the hills behind him in the shadow, like a dark dot flying above the rocks and gliding like a dark sail smiling to the edge of the sky forever. The angels are not sure whose wings are these and are tempted to extinct the shadow. But the sun shines so strong, the bird's shape is sharper on the edge, and only rain can erase the trace of the bird on the edge, only rain. But the sun grows so strong and the shape grows sharper on the stones, on the edge of water. The breeze of an eternal past passes and smiles with a whisper until a few drops of water erase the shape of the bird forever. And the breeze blows so softly until the raindrops erase the shape slowly, and the breeze with its icy lips embraces the earth so sweet, erases the shape of the bird forever.
Ooh, very nice. Would like to hear that sung.
Yeah, me too. I'm trying to
Bang.
bang. Yeah, I'll try to remember the melody, but if I don't, I will just invent a new one.
Okay, well, we've heard you sing, so we know you can sing.
Yeah.
And sometimes you might want to step out as I have done, particularly in open mics, and I've sang a cappella, and for lack of an accompanist with me. Okay, thank you, Claire.
Thank you.
Now, I have an unexpected contribution to make tonight, and so I'm only going to read one poem, but I'm going to preface why I'm doing it. When I posted some hours ago that we were going to feature Talal, I got a message from Abdul Aziz in Mosul, Iraq. Now, me and Abdulaziz have been talking for about 2 years. He's still living in Mosul, which was almost completely destroyed by the Islamists and the U.S. Marine Corps fighting it out to dominate that city. So, so, yeah, he reports what I think we knew if we followed the gory news, that much of the city was destroyed and many innocent people were killed on both sides. And so Abdul Aziz is a poet, and he wrote me that, and he feels very lonely and isolated because he cannot access Zoom. He says he loses his signal very frequently as well. So he wrote me this note saying, "Dear Poet Mo, I see you having a Palestinian poet tonight. I understand to some degree this man's life struggle. Though I am much younger, I have struggled a lifetime just to survive and be human and not take the sides of any of the haters. Because I cannot get Zoom, would you please read the poem I read from you called Open Door so that I can listen to it in your recording, which I can get? Yours truly, Poet Abdul Aziz." So this is for you, Abdul Aziz. This is for you, my brother, living alone like that. He says he believes he's one of the few survivors of Mosul and the only poet. Open door. Come in. My door is open. The windows clean and clear. Be you friend or stranger, the foe of ignorance and dangerous myth. My table round, a circle of friends and strangers, enemies breaking bread. I'll pour Italian espresso. You bring baklava from Beirut, and we will discuss the differences between olives, big and small, green and black. Let us chew on the options. You be the Muslim, now be the Jew, and I'll poem a phrase, and you sing a song. We both shall dance in the open light for all the world to know that we can. I shall follow you to your city, to your house. I carry flowers, a curious manner, a wish to know, a need to be. Your tastes, the aromas of your kitchen, the chatter of your children, the photos you hang on the kitchen wall, faces of they whom you carry in your heart. An old man dies, a child is born, you tell me stories and I tell mine. Both of us discharging the shit of our lives in a world gone mad with itself. Filling our laughter and pain with the dawn, we find ourselves alone in the still ambience, a solitude shared where men might cry. When I take my leave of you, I will carry your voice, your soft eyes, mirrored in mine, my breath in hope. It was that moment, a wordless silence, discovery, union. The grace of bird song, wind chime, morning star, the world about us. I will carry your city in the map of my memory, carry your voice in the conversation on the bus. I will carry your smile as a work of art. We shall both be changed to the rest of time. And from our graves, we shall rise to the call of battle. We shall rush on the waters, fly on the winds, arrive at the scene of blood, fire, as angels of deliverance, to summon our descendants, offspring and kin, to lay down their fear, pick up the torch that lights the way, is the light, the way we had found, the way we had found, to the crossroad of fulfillment, complete, calling all the children home. Thank you. So that is for you, Abdul Aziz.
Mo, we didn't hear you very well because of your microphone, but we heard a bit of the text.
Only a bit of it. What's
yeah.
wrong with it? I don't understand.
I got most of it.
How about, did other people have trouble with it?
There was a few drops.
I could hear it.
Yeah, you
Well,
faded out a little, but I got all the words, Mo.
Yeah.
That's you, Bill. I'm asking others. Thank you.
I could hear most. I could hear
Was
most
very
of it.
bad.
There was a couple of-
That's what I
a
got
couple
as
of
well.
bars, something that distorted and something, but I could hear most of it.
Okay. Well, we'll just go with that. Sorry about that.
I mean, you sound great now. So
Right.
It seems when I hold a book before the screen and read, somehow it deflects from the microphone.
Yes. Mo,
Yes.
can I ask you a question?
Sure.
Because I didn't hear very well the introduction and the poem. I think that in the introduction, this Iraqi poet, Abdelaziz,
Yes.
talked about me. I didn't understand what was the relation, what
Okay.
was the link.
I'll explain. Abdulaziz read something I posted some hours ago saying that I was introducing a new poet tonight to Angora, and that you were the poet and that you were of Palestinian origin. And so he wrote me a note saying, dear, I'll read this without the paper getting in. Dear poet Mo, you're having a Palestinian poet. As you, I live, I can relate to his distance and struggle, even though I'm much younger. In my city, you know, I believe I'm the only poet. And so he, you know, I cannot get Zoom, and my signal just for internet is very weak. But would you please read your poem, Open Door, so that I can listen to that and continue to have some hope here in Mosul in Iraq. Your loving friend, Abdul Aziz.
Nice. Good.
Yeah. So that's, and as I said, I tried to get him on, but he told me he cannot access Zoom from Mosul in Iraq. He said it's just not happening. He said neither the Islamists nor the government really wanted people to have a lot of access on the internet. And then as I explained a little earlier, he explained when he met me that he was not taking sides with either the Islamists or the corrupt government and its army or the Americans. He said, here I am, a human being poet trying to survive in a city where most of my neighbors were killed. So
can we get in contact with him?
Yes, I think yes. Yes, sir. Yes, he would like that.
And perhaps
And
we could get something for him to record something in advance to share with.
Yeah, I have asked him, and he also, believe it or not, 2 years ago, when I was really encouraging him to send me work that I could read, he was afraid that an enemy either an Islamist or the corrupt government would note that he's reading in public, and he feared for his safety. And he told me that. He said, "I'm very afraid."
Yeah, sure.
That doesn't get any
And
realer than that.
and
It's
he
very
said,
disturbing.
and his last name I don't mention, and he doesn't mention, because he never wants his last name revealed, so that, as he calls it, a hater and an enemy can come after him for trying to speak from where he lives.
I
Because
hope he remains safe.
he said his story, his personal story, denounces the Islamists, the corrupt government, and the United States military. He said so. He said that he was in a very sensitive position and did not want to be killed or arrested for speaking out.
I can imagine that. I
Yeah.
can. This poem, Open Door,
Yes.
it's yours or his?
No, it's my poem, and I wrote it several years ago, and it won a poetry festival in Morocco, and so it was translated into Arabic, and I was brought to Agadir, Morocco,
Yes.
to present that poem and do some other work in Agadir. And that's the history of this poem. I wrote it in a hotel in Agadir and sent it to them. And
anyhow, at the end, tomorrow or after tomorrow, few days, we can exchange these poems. We can have these poems read tonight.
well, they will be recorded, and you will be notified.
If friends wishes to do.
Yes, and so it'll be recorded, and all of us will be listened to by way of the recording. And I tag everyone, and everyone is free to put it on their own page.
Yes, listening is something, reading is another.
Isn't it? Yes.
Especially your American English, my Arabic.
Narcel in Turkish. Yes.
So reading means also thinking.
Mm-hmm.
Hearing, having a pleasure, having this kind of peace that comes through ears, eyes, etc. But reading gives you a time to réfléchir.
To reflect, yes.
To think, to reflect, to think.
And Angora has connected people. And in the case of Narcel, she is now in communication with a poet friend of mine who used to be in Paris. And she is from Istanbul, and she conducts spoken word Istanbul. And her name is Merve Balahem. You pronounce my terrible accent. But now Narcel, as a fellow modernist poet in Istanbul, Merv.
I love all what I heard. I don't want to say especially that one or the other, but our friend from New York, in Yuma, with his music, flattered me.
Yeah, music is great.
Yes.
Music to poetry is a natural marriage.
Yes.
Yes, it is. Okay. Well, why don't you all talk to each other? Okay. Why don't you all talk to each other for a few minutes, and we will come back and do round 2, where everyone is invited to submit or to give us 2 more of their works. So carry on with the.
Oh, wait. Mute. Oh, okay, good.
Are we on, Dave?
Yeah.
Okay, well, welcome Welcome to round two in Angora Poets, a World Cafe. And we will start at the top of this round with Angoma Hill, and he will present two works for us. So you're on, Angoma.
So this track here is just a track that I just click the button and the track is there. So, and what I'm playing over is improvisational, and it's called They Walk Through Life with Eyes Wide Shut. They walk through life with eyes wide shut, in denial that their TV sets lied. That their holy books are plagiarized by amnesia victims suffering post-traumatic stress since the Spanish Inquisition, trading land for beads and Bibles to those who could not read, been forced to believe that the cross would save them. They said, believe us, but it didn't save Jesus. Immaculate conception, reincarnation, resurrection, or suffer the wrath of the sword in those days of dark called medieval, ruled by society's secrets, degrees and planets, evicted from temples, numbers keepers. King James, the filthy, drunken pervert, seized the scrolls and flipped the scripture, but never got instructions to decipher the inscriptions passed down by master teachers, otherwise known as Egyptians. So tell me, who's defining this definition? Did he fit the description in the lineup of those accused of treason? Tell me, Buddha, what do you think of this new guy, Jesus? Should we ask Krishna if he's come to confuse us? After all, crusaders burn witches at the stake. So was he sent to deceive us with the veil of misconception that there was only one immaculate conception, crucifixion, resurrection? Well, first you better take a look at the planet's ancient mystery books. It doesn't take a CSI to know that there were thieves in the temple. Word, that line, Judas. You mean he didn't speak of Horus or Attis, Krishna or Dionysus, Buddha or Mithra, and those of every family? You'd best define the righteous path, learn the science and the math, to play the dozens. To everything there is a season. 12 tribes equal 12 disciples equal 12 constellations of planets around Horus, the sun. The secret of life is one. How do I know this, you ask? At high noon, I shape-shifted into a dove. I was there when he stood in a circle squared. Anyway, Let's see if I can find this other track.
Okay.
Second piece.
And
Yeah,
I forget the I forget the name of that instrument you're playing.
it's a
Angora.
melodica.
Melodica. Okay.
Yeah.
Man.
Sorry.
Ow.
A love poem. It was at a Sunday evening church program that we first met. I'd also seen her once or twice at school. It was a kindergarten crush turned into a love affair. We'd often walk to school together. Who would have thought it may last forever? It was really love at first sight, and once I heard her sing, I knew there was no turning back. She was a smooth brown with perfect curves, and once I got up the nerve to touch her perfect body, it resulted in a sweet vibrato. Sometimes she'd come to my music practice room. It was large enough for a piano. Up on the third floor, we closed the door for a minuet or two. It was my finger dexterity and sensuous stroke that made the music float like foreplay licking your ear. One day she says to me, look, this vanilla sex is bland, and if you want me to stay, you best to find a plan, because a sister like me wants to be heard. So about that time, I got her amped. She liked the way I played her pedals. When I plugged her in, we went to another level. As the music soared, it was electric. We both loved fat bass lines with funk in the trunk. You might say I had her in the pocket when we rocked it. The earth resonated. When my fingertips plucked strings, you could hear her sing like a band of gypsies on a summer night. She was a sweet thing, never jealous when I fingered the flute or sweetly kissed the didgeridoo. It was a menage a trois of sweet harmony. That's why my first love was my violin. Yeah. A little something, something.
Okay. All right.
Thank
So
you.
that was good, man. Thank you, Angora.
Thank you. I'm
All
gonna have
right.
to go. I'm supposed to do another open mic thing, so I'm kind of like, you know, I'm kind of stretching it thin today. So
Yeah, well, you New Yorkers, and we know you're on the ball. You're active.
nice seeing y'all.
Okay.
Nice doing this.
See you again,
Have a
Angoma.
good day. All right. Take
Stay
care.
well and you know, keep speaking truth to power.
Try to do my best.
All right. Okay.
Right. Y'all take
Bye
care.
for now.
All right. Bye for now.
Wellness. Okay. So next we are going to Narcel. Hello, Narcel. I have found two of your poems, Narcel, and the first poem is called Heart of the Night. Heart of the Night by Narcel Ertikin. The heart of the night is fat and ecstatic. My heart bleeds in purgatory dreams. Owls sing in my ruined house. I have sadness too. I am going to the sea of nothingness. Your eyes are a poem in the sea of love. A rough ship approaches the port. Horrible passion on your lips. As soon as my wounds bleed, the night in the heart of the fetid and ecstatic, if I take shelter in the bosom of a capricious poem, you know I'll put my life in your way. Geraniums are confused to my rainbow dreams. I'm going to the sea of nothingness.
بحر لا شيء.
Hmm? So you know, Shell.
Gecenin kalbi. Gecenin kalbi fettan ve esrik. Kanar yüreğim araf düşlerde. İran evinde baykuşlar öter. Bende hüzün, bende figan. Gidesim var hiçlik denizine. Aşk denizinde gözlerin bir şiir. Limana yaklaşır serkeş bir gemi. Dudaklarında iflah olmaz bir tutku. Yaralarım kanar, onulmaz gecenin fettan ve esrik kalbinde. Sığınsam hercai bir şiirin koynuna. Bilesin ömrümü koyarım yoluna. Sardunyalar şaşkın, gökkuşağı düşlerime. Gidesim var hiçlik denizine. Thank you.
Thank you too. Okay, and now your second poem is, okay, let's call this up. Your second poem is called Cities, Cities. I don't want green prescription happiness. Let the imbat winds comb my hair. Master Venusian, smell of lavender, elfin breeze. Let's take a black pearl from an oyster. Blink at us, the length of the blue cord in the sad body of Nemrut. Sosen is a red sun. Again, the heart took off from its deep pain. It is evening in the lost, dark blue waters. My dreams called to baby innocence in the lotus-smelling song of the troubled oceans.
Thank you.
Ooh. Boy, you've been getting the lovesick blues.
Yes, it is.
Yes.
Renkler. Yeşil reçeteli mutluluklar istemem. Tarasın saçlarımı imbat rüzgarları. Çek usta bir düş Venüs'ten. Paris lavanta koksun. Al sancak Meltem. Çalalım siyah bir inciyi İstiridye'den. Göz kırpsın bize mavi kordon boyu. Nemrut'un hazin gövdesinde solsun hazan kızılı bir güneş. Yine gönül havalandı derin acılarından. Kayıp lacivert sularda akşam oluyor. Düşlerim çağırdı bebek masumluğuna. Dertli okyanusların nilüfer kokan şarkısında. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. Beautiful, Marcel. Beautiful. Thank you very much. Okay. And now we're going to Bill Strangmaier. Hello, Bill again.
Hello. Okay, prayer to the devil god. The devil's not only the hate, the devil's the hate that articulates this. They did me this, they did me that. For all of that, they ought to die or live in misery at last. Or else they would do me this, they would do me that. For all of that, they ought to die or live in misery at least. The devil says we do no wrong. The devil says it is excused. It's someone else's fucking fault. The easy out, the lazy thought we've held since we were kids. The loss that grabs me by the throat, regret for losses past, forgetfulness towards those we love and losing friendship, losing hope. The devil gives us what we want, is gentle, soft, and kind, so nice when we are weak, adds weaknesses we hope to keep, and sings a lowing song. Oh sleep, my little one, so pretty are you now. The Lord and Master is safe above and loves you anyhow. Okay.
Okay. Number 2, man.
A breached prayer. A bird flew by above the window, disconnecting from desire to belong to a God or universe or mental state that some might sanction, certify. Well, is the mind a private room, or are there governed fingers poking in each day? The bird, was it a part of meaning or design, a love note sent me from a sprite? For never have I felt the glory save in a watercolor drift away from common script. Hope is ever crouching like a hologram that distracts some villain from a triumph, and the will is ever weaker than the need for air and warmth, for water. As always, there's a ball thrown up into the air and caught by warming breeze. It rolls into another in beguiling artifice, at once remembered, once familiar. But now I do recall the past was mine. I remember where I was that day, the joy. But that was not the goal on setting out, was not elixir held in hand to claim the bird who passed by leaving bird-shaped aperture of light. And that indeed was somehow the intended check mark on my gaze.
Okay. Okay, Bill. Yes, man. Thank you. Okay. Next up is Dave, Dharma Dave. Are you there?
Yes, here I am. It's gotten really windy out here. I'm in the front garden, which is kind of sheltered from the wind, but it's really, really blowing. Freaky economy at the corner of Dwight and Telegraph. The economics of being a freak. I don't want to live on the street. It's okay to sit here in the sun, but it gets cold at night. If I had money, I could get all the drugs I need just by sitting here. Do you need some doses, man? Do you want to buy some indica? It's the kind. 10 years ago, 15 years ago, I used to hang out here. When I got cold or bored, I could go home to Mom and Dad's warm house in the suburbs, but not anymore. I have an apartment in the city. The rent is due in a week or two. I have a lovely daughter and a beautiful wife. Why is my soul filled with strife? Why do I feel alone? They like the way I cook. They'd like to see me write a book. My creditors want to be paid. My landlord wants the rent. The interviewer said, "You are an ambitious man. Why did you quit your job a year ago this month? We can promise you a robot slot, and you will not be happy here. But we can only pay much less than you could make by breaking the law." I said, "I will consider it." He said, "We will call you next week." So now I sit on the corner and contemplate the economics of being a freak. I see these young kids, bands of the dead with drugs in their pockets and clouds in their heads. I see the old-time hippies from before the year one, the girls that stare at me, the students that run to make their next class up at the Cal Berkeley machine, with coffee-wired professors who scheme and who dream of sabbatical leaves far from Telegraph Town, where the Bloods and the cops fight war on the street, and a subtle Cold War. That's the life of a freak. In late 80s Berkeley, strange days indeed. So I, the young poet, sit here for a while and watch a poem grow from this old fertile soil before I return to my present need, searching for money on which to feed and searching for a job that won't require my soul. The economics of being a freak, I will find a way, because everyone who looks knows I've got something to say.
Mhm. Okay. I'm looking for a job that won't require my soul. Indeed.
Yeah. It's number two.
Hmm.
It's another,
Okay.
more, sketches of the Bay Area. Speedy delivery. This is actually one of the many jobs that I got during this period, and a lot of them didn't last too long, including this one. Speedy delivery. Quicksilver's messenger service proudly waved a Dayglow flag from the rooftops downtown when the freak rainbow power wave first rippled out from San Francisco. In North Beach, the clever beatniks with glee put on their beads and feathers, or dressed in gray to lead the way. They sat drinking coffee in smoke cloud hangouts, dark American poetry mumblings. This account, of course, just so much mythological fanaticism. I wasn't there. I was a kid playing across the bay in a Pinole subdivision. Now I'm here, riding express elevators through the science fiction buildings, steel, glass, marble, mirrored lights, the bicycle messengers, new freak power manifestors, tear through town. Long hair and dreadlocks flying, tie-dyed shirt tails flapping, and walkie-talkies squawking. I move at a more measured pace. I'm slow. Small-time tyrant boss yells threats at me over the telephone while I examine the check he gave me, light as a feather, and look for other work. I am not Mr. McFeely, rushing about from dawn to dusk. Speedy delivery, speedy delivery. No time to talk right now. Busy day, speedy delivery. They must be paying him a lot more than me, or else he does it out of duty. Or maybe he just likes to ride a bicycle. I've had my disagreements with bicycles over the years, and the streets of downtown are not the place to resolve them. Instead, I ride the bus all day, learning the schedules and the lines, riding from the bank zone to the Mission, back across town to Fisherman's Wharf, seeing all sorts of people, holidays, shoppers, lugging bulging bags of consumer goods, young and old people, poor folks, and upwardly mobile urbanites. Two black dudes are hanging out on 3rd Street under the freeway, drinking Thunderbird and listening to the Grateful Dead on a boombox. This must be 1987. A few lines hastily scrawled in a notebook before reaching the transfer point, jump off the bus onto the next one, flashing the driver my fast pass.
Okay. Well, I'm glad you kept your soul, Dave. I'm glad you kept your soul.
I'm glad I've found better jobs. I'm glad I'm unemployed now.
Okay.
Off the bus.
A quick word of announcement here. A lot of poems are being submitted to the Angora Poets Anthology. If anyone on this screen has not done so, I encourage you to do so. Angora Poets Anthology at gmail.com. And Muriel is assisting me with this, and now we have a third party assisting with this. So yeah, you sent right. You select the poem you want to send in, because by virtue of you being invited to Angora, you've already qualified as a very good poet that deserves to be in the anthology. Yeah. And as I say, it makes my job easy because all of you are good poets. So I don't have to go through and decide is this good or not, because you're on the screen because you are a good poet. So that's that. You decide. It's your call. You see, it makes my job easy because I can correctly say, as I said in the beginning of Angora Poets over 3 years ago, every poet is a feature. Okay, that makes my job easier. As I said, there are those that host 30 or 40 poets a night, and that's good. I like Angora Poets hosting a smaller crowd of poets who land, as we say. Okay, so it's all good. The other thing is, we have decided we are going to print those of you who have written bilingually. Okay, Turkish, English, Arabic, English, Spanish, English, etc. We have decided we're going to do that as well. Okay, and later this week, for those of you in Paris, I'm reading, and you can. There is the Marché de la Poésie, which begins Wednesday and goes through Sunday. I will be reading with French poets and my French publishers in an event called L'Assault des Poets, the Assault of the Poets. And I'll be there. I hope you find me and I find you. And that's the Marché de la Poésie. Wednesday's pretty much cutting ribbons and yes men and yes women taking a bow. It starts to heat up Thursday and it's hotter Friday, toward the weekend. And we're praying not for cold or rain, but COVID had determined or dictated that this year the Marché is held in late October instead of June, which is what the city administration decided. So if you do come, you'll run into a lot of French poets that have been with Angora and their own basic Francophone stages, and I'm a member of them. So I will be the Americano participating with them. And okay, so that's going on. And later, we're doing an erotic poetry reading in a gallery in Paris, and we are gonna rip. For the faint-hearted, stay home. Okay, so that's those announcements. So let's go to Talal now. And I have two poems of his, and let me call them up here. And here they are. Okay, Talal, here we go with your first one. I picked a rose in the morning, stripped off its thorns and kissed it. Does what I did offend you, oh wretched one? You can't now, if you like, to prevent the kiss and imprison the rose, since now you cannot close the garden door, or to deviate the way to a paradise that you thought was yours. Now, absolutely free, I will do what I want. Here I am releasing the kiss, hugging the rose. Show me what you can do now, if you can. The kiss will chase you, and the rose will crush you at all the gates of paradise.
قطفت في الصبح وردة، نزعت عن عودها شوكة وقبلتها. هل أغاظك أيها المتبرم ما فعلته؟ لن تستطيع الآن، لن تستطيع الآن إن شئت أن تحجر القبلة وأن تحبس الوردة. لن تستطيع منذ الآن أن تغلق باب الحديقة أو أن تحرف الطريق إلى جنة كنت تحسبها لك. الآن سأفعل بمطلق حريتي ما أريد. هانذا أطلق القبلة وأحضن الوردة. أرني ما الذي تستطيع الآن. إذا استطعت أن تفعله ستطاردك القبلة وستسحقك الوردة عند كل أبواب الجنة.
Okay, thank you. All right, and now your second poem, which is called You Are, and it's translated from Arabic by Kathum Ben Hassin Hamad. Okay, that's the translator of your poem. You are. You are the goddess of...
The biologist. It's the biologist. She's the biologist.
I don't know. Oh, okay. Are we ready now?
Ready, yes.
Okay. You are the goddess of water, and I am the god of stone. Life begins with you. Light comes out from you. Trees push from you, and grass grows in cracks of stone. You are the cloud. I am the shadow. You are the term and the beginning. I am the distance between your voice and the echo. I am the donor. You are the giver. I am the heritage. You are the patrimony. If only we had shared what we have, and this half by half, or equal to equal. From you, I inherited life, and from me, you inherited universe. This universe.
أنت إلهة الماء، أنا إله الحجر. منك تبدأ الحياة، منك يخرج الضياء، منك ينبت الشجر والعشب في شقوق الحجر. أنت السحابة، أنا الظل، أنت المدى والمبتدأ، وأنا المسافة بين صوتك والصدى. أنا الموروث، أنت المورثة، أنا الموروث، أنت الموروثة. لو أننا اقتسمنا بيننا ما لدينا، أنصفا بنصف أم مثلا بمثل. منك ورثت الحياة، ومني ورثت الكون، هذا الكون. Done.
Okay, okay. That's a very nice poem. Very nice poem. Thank you. Thank you. Boy, you're certainly welcome to join us in Angora Poets. Talal. Very welcome. All right. Now, I would like to, let's see, the little list here is now we will go back to Paris and we will bring on Jack Cooper. Jack, it's you.
It is.
It is.
Yeah. So, so what I have is this is a double sonnet. So it's one, the sonnet that's actually they're reflected. So it's going to count as both poems. And what I've done is I've adapted the exact rhyme and syllabic length of a poem by Gerard de Nerval called El Desdichado. And I call this whoreson, as in you whoreson. Whoreson. Call me polished in romancing fires of neglect. I am one adept, bred golden knowledge, condemned while yet small to its occult loneliness. Abandon such too often this past privilege of prince and orphan, listless, shrunk, thus resurrect. Winter comes, spring, prodigious, initiate, redox, alembicated, fume transmutes afresh. Portals by myself I trim, in lemniscate, both stayed and went. Decision similarly unwound. half decent, given superpowers, I do abjure. Identity, what not no issue can assure. Dweller immured wherever vacancy abounds. Soul unique, elusive tenancy. Tear the hostile, overlook, allows, be ignored. Room tips infinity beyond the farthest stairs. Star, faint, restless, sands knob, neither door ajar, nor point of view to nest in thought, the only gift might count. I play a child, heart the plod of age precludes. Bond unsecured, adulthood forcibly matures. No wonder if cookie crumbles, hand assists getting caught. Breath held since yours loosed mine. Last derivative, length staked claim, the lapses leapt, faith diminishes. Convertible, the Mustang's tendency towards bliss. Breeches stretched, bright, red, precipitate, a speck. Mephitic, dank, flat spleen, perseverance skips across rocked seas, predicts premier failure to select, to detect. You're leaving me for years. Desperate, 6, I plucked my lip. Womb, excuse me. Desperate, 6, I plucked my lip, looked back. Womb, deeds, impermanent.
Okay. Okay. That must have taken some work, huh, Jack?
Yeah.
To get in that in a double solid form, huh?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, it did. I'm still, not sure whether it quite works, but
Yeah, but you got to try things, right? You got to try.
there it goes. There it goes. I mean, there's a lot of truth buried in that.
Yeah, and as Talal said earlier, some poems deserve to be quietly read to absorb the weight
Yeah,
and the meaning,
that certainly does.
and that certainly does.
Yeah. I thought I would try reading it just the same.
Sure. Yeah. Okay. Well, it's come down to the last poet of the evening, which is myself, and I'm going to try to read this without them interfering with the microphone. Okay. Now, the first poem I'm going to read, I wrote in Jerusalem, Talal. You reminded me of this poem, and it was published in a Jerusalem newspaper called Al Fajr, AL-FAJR.
L'aube.
Okay.
C'est l'aube. L'aube en français.
I don't get that. Anybody?
Dawn?
Dawn?
5 o'clock in the morning.
Yeah, dawn. Alob. Okay.
Dawn.
So it was
Don't
published. Okay, it was published in that newspaper because
what
I
year?
okay 1991.
Mother? Because before I wrote in this, I was in Jerusalem and I used to write in this newspaper.
Okay, good, small world. So here it is in English because I could not read this in Arabic, and it's about a man I briefly befriended in the afternoons. I was there as a journalist, and I befriended this guy, and we were just chewing olives together. You know, I love olives, so I chew them like candy, and he was giving them, and he spoke English, and we and this poem reveals what happened, and it's called a severed limb. No, it's called When Ibrahim Fell. The moment comes, inevitable rendezvous, space, time, fusion, life, death, one face, ghost freed from the bone. You cease to think, nerves detach, race through blood, limbs, joints, even the head, useless. Only the ears and the eyes open as never before. When Ibrahim fell while tending the olive grove, the pain was quick. His struggle to love, to struggle to live, to struggle to be, a severed root cast at the base of a bleeding olive tree. Assassin approached in heavy boots to gloat over his prey, a frail man-made corpse, supine, silent, at peace with the earth. Suddenly, the predator comes to sense failure. He fathoms his own defeat, overcome by his victim's composure. A trace of a smile on the dead man's face. A moment of his assassin. You will never know. So that's that one. Now the second poem was also was published in called One World in English. My collection of poetry published in Arabic by Cairo Press and translated by Sammy Stelios, as he likes to give his name, Stelios. April falls on fields in France, and we take to walk to talk of love and promise, while shells shattered, horrified dwellers guilty of living in a place. Tulips bloom through the grace, colors spill, bathed beneath the sun, while blood-red rivers flow and children let go their streaming veins, the streets of Baghdad. Season of renewal, earth, she turns so gracefully. All is not right. The tapestry comes undone. Tyrants discharge pawns as madmen stampede over sand and principles. A rabid dog snaps a fragile branch to sink its teeth into a cornered cat. Blind men bark orders, the epidemic of rage. Let us decree war on spring a criminal act, punishable. May the mighty earth quake and devour this place. Children, come forward with peace, the parade. That goes out to you, Abdulaziz. That goes out to you. Well, okay. This has been one grand night of poetry, and wow, I just oh, watch out, dog. So I want to thank Ngoma, and I want to thank Kareem, and I want to thank Nurcell, and I want to thank Bill and Dave and Talal and Jack and Claire. And I didn't mind being here myself.
Yeah,
So
thank you, Mo.
We thank you, Mo.
Everybody thank everybody.
Yeah, we thank everybody.
Thank everybody.
Everybody, thank everybody.
Do a little.
And welcome to you.
Dave,
Oh,
can I ask you, why does it say Pinnell on your cap?
Pinnell, well, it was the name of the hippie free school my parents had to send me to after second grade when I declined any more compulsory public education when I was 7 years old. And it's named after Philippe Pinel, who was the French reformer of the insane asylum. He
Yeah.
unchained the inmates. I think he was up on Montmartre.
My first address in Paris was Rue Pinel in the 13th.
I'm sure it was probably named after the same fellow.
Yeah,
I also boxed with a guy named Pinnell.
yeah, the pineal gland is named after Pinnell.
Oh, is that correct? Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well,
Is that true?
saved my life.
Okay.
Okay.
Now we're really getting down to serious talk.
I'll tell you.
Mo,
Yes, sir.
Mo,
Yes.
je voudrais dédier ma participation ce soir avec vous à Abdelaziz in Mossoul.
Voilà. Oui, je dois envoyer le link pour Abdulaziz. Okay?
Okay.
He will appreciate that, especially coming from another person, poet, who has endured similar circumstances in that part of the world.
Tell him that we are with him with our hurts.
Yes,
So
okay. I would gladly tell him that you appreciated him being referenced tonight, and some other people felt empathetic, sympathetic.
I hope once we can find together a way to help people like Abdelaziz
Yeah.
to extend their voices, to
Yes.
hear them,
Yes, and like there are.
to liberate them.
Yes, yes, and I would also like to include the disparate and desperate Chinese voices that are trying to be heard today in the face of authoritarianism, imprisonment, and punishment as well. So
against oppression everywhere in the world.
really, one people, one planet, one love.
Freedom and love everywhere in the world.
That's right. That's right.
No
Well,
annexion, no occupation, no oppression,
yes.
no apartheid.
Yes.
Hear, hear.
Yes.
Without all of this,
Yes.
the world for us,
Yes.
we do not need a world where we are prisoners.
Yes. And that's what I saw when I was in your part of the world, apartheid. And I had previously been to apartheid South Africa. And that was truly, apartheid is an exclusive to South Africa as what I saw in Israel, Palestine. And that was for sure, with no exaggeration. So, and you know what I believe, Talal? I believe what a former PLO prisoner told me when he got out of Angkor 2 prison. Okay, he did 18 years at Angkor prison for throwing a pipe bomb in a bus station that did not go off. Okay, he gets released. I interview him. And at the end of the interview, I said to him, now, what would you like to see now in this Israel Palestine? What do you want to see after being in the PLO, after being a guerrilla, after going prison? And I was writing for a Noam Chomsky publication called Z Magazine, and publishing for recording for Pacifica Radio Network. So I said to him on tape recorder as well as pen, what would you like to see, having all this history behind you, and you're back now in your home in East Jerusalem? He said, what I most want to see is equality for education for my children and the Israeli Jewish children. What I most want to see is simply an equal right to education, so all the children can grow up with equal opportunities. That's what this former guerrilla told me.
And these children then will grow up free.
Yes, with equal, free means also equal opportunity.
Yes.
We suffer from that in the States. Free should mean equal opportunity as well. And I had mentioned to my detractors, many of whom were liberal Jewish, who went, no, you don't understand. It's complicated. And I said, that's what the white South Africans told me when I was down there. You don't understand. It's complicated. I said, white man, I'm a white American. Don't tell me I fucking don't understand you, cousin. You know, excuse me for my outburst, but I didn't want to hear any more of that bullshit. So with my Jewish American and Israeli detractors, no, you can't trust those people. You don't know what'll happen if they get their rights. I said, did the Native Americans today want to slaughter the white Americans? No. Did the black South Africans ever attempt to slaughter the white South Africans? No. The Palestinians, if they were given equality, would first of all deem would deem the jihadists irrelevant. We don't need you anymore. We want to send our children to school. And I would bet my life on it that they also would not wish to inflict on their oppressors what their oppressors inflict upon them. As we've seen with Native Americans, Black Americans, you know, who did not wish to inflict the same on their oppressors. And that's my message to those doubters who would wish to deny what they're doing and extend what they're doing perpetually. You know, I think Hamas would be told, "We're done, Hamas. We're done. You know, we want to do democratic elections and send our children to school." I think Hamas would be out of jobs if there was equal opportunity.
Who created Hamas? Give me an answer.
Well, I was in Gaza City when Israelis pulled up in jeeps and gave thousands of free leaflets to Hamas to organize Hamas. I saw it because a jihadist enemy was more agreeable to their propaganda than the PLO, which simply wanted democratic elections. So they wanted Hamas to grow so they could convince America and the rest of the world that they were in a fight for their survival against extremists. And I swear to you, I saw it out of a candy store window. The Jeeps driving up in the afternoon and unloading boxes of flyers for what was then a fledgling young group of young men called Hamas. They were supplying them with the materials they needed to get started.
You know a movie called The World According to Agfa? It's an Israeli movie.
No.
It shows, a lot of it is about the behavior of Israeli soldiers vis-a-vis Arabs, the Palestinians.
Yeah. So that was my experience. And what surprised me, like in South Africa, was that a whole lot of liberals want to see equal rights for Black Americans and sympathize with Native Americans, but do not want to pressure equality for the Palestinians. This is a very stubborn, embedded, successful propaganda campaign. carried out
That
by.
means we have to struggle against ugly
Yeah.
world.
Yeah. So, but as I say, white South Africans would tell me when I was there, because I wanted to interview all sides, not just, the so-called oppressed side. Let me hear from you other folks. What's your point of view? And time and again, the white South Africans told me, we got to be careful. We got to be real careful. If these blacks are released from passcodes and security checks and places like that, we got to be careful. They don't try to slaughter all of us. And you know what? When that happened, there was no slaughter organized against them. What the black South Africans wanted and want is the same kind of access, technology, and economy as the white South Africans can have. That's what they want. At the end of the day, people want secure housing and education and a future for their children. Anyway, I want to thank you all. I'm gonna try to write up a little review of this most dynamic reading with Minimus and attach a song to it and tag you all to it and encourage you to send to Angora Poets if you have not done so, and to Dave and Muriel's piece, Inner Revolution. Yo, I submitted to it. So we're cooking.
Cool. Awesome.
We're cooking. We're cooking. All
Bill,
right.
Jack, you guys got a
All
poem
right.
you can send along.
Yeah.
I can probably find it.
I've sent.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like I say, we're the mouse that roars.
Yeah.
We're this little group that keeps getting published in places and giving each other meaningful connections.
Absolutely. It's wonderful.
Absolutely. Okay, well, I want to say
All
good
right.
night and thank you all, y'all.
Good night to everyone. Thank you, everyone.
Good night.
Good night.
Jack.
Night,
Good night, Bill.
everybody.
Good night.
Again.
Good night, Mo.
See you again.